What up, guys? Dr. Vic. This is tip number 19. As I'm sharing with you guys, every day I made a commitment to, for 30 days, I'm going to share a tip on something to help empower you for 2020, but more importantly, your next decade. This one is real simple. This one I love the most. This is something that I had to learn. It wasn't something that came easy to me because I thought about the big, audacious things that I wanted to create, the big, astronomical goals and visions and all these things. And I was so good at doing things all at once, knocking it out and then moving forward. And what I realized is that instead there's an easier way of doing things. Because when I did that method, I was stressed out a lot. There was time crunches and deadlines I had to hit, and I was just cranking away all the time. Maybe it's my old student model of thinking that I had, because in chiropractic school, that's what we had happen. We had deadlines, you had a short period of time, you cram, get it done, do what you had to do, and move forward to the next. But what I learned over time that has given me so much peace and actually made me more productive is focusing on the small things you can do every day, right? What's a couple wins that you can do? I didn't learn this technique. Nobody taught me this. I actually started studying billionaires and millionaires because I was like, these people own many different businesses. Some own 10, 12, 15, 18 businesses. I'm like, how do they focus every day? Like if I had that, I don't know if I can stay centered. And it was amazing to see that every day they wake up and there's one or two things, maybe even up to three, of what they focus on as a win. That's it. And they set the tone for that, and that's their priority. Then they delegate everything else out. And then as long as they get those wins, they keep moving forward. And I thought about that because then I'm like, wow, it's only the small things. It's the real little things that you want to focus on, not the big, audacious goals. And so this is something critical. When I started writing a book, I started to do that where some people are like, how did you write a book in 20-something days? It's nothing fancy when I say that. And it's just that I took time on the weekends, and I take an hour to myself, maybe two, and I write. And then once I felt like I was done, that was it. And I would choose 3 days out of the week, and I would write. And that's all I would do. And, a month and a half later, I had a book. And so it was the little things that I did. I didn't overcrank a whole day of writing, or I need to take a whole month off of writing. It was just little at a time. I do this with books now. I used to want to read a gazillion books all at once, 120 books a year. I was at one point averaging. And it got to a point where I was reading a lot. And now I don't care about how many books I read a year. I don't make a list and say I'm reading 20 books for 2020 or I'm reading 50 books for 2020. I don't get into numbers because that's all ego. What I'll do is I'll just read 15 minutes a day. Roughly, that's my average, or I listen to the book for 15 minutes, and that's what I do. It's the small things. But guess what? I get the books done. It may take a month, but guess what? They're done. And I'm still moving forward and learning, and I'm applying what I learned. That's the key. A lot of people say, I read this book, I read that book. I was that guy. And I knew all the books. I knew all the people's names. I knew the work. I could break it down. Ask me, though, how much I applied that to my life. Ask me, though, how much did I implement that in my world, my business, my life, my relationships, and all that? Slim to none. Because you got to take time to process this in and train the mind in those ways. So those are just some of the things that when it comes to focusing on the small things, it's what do you do for today that's a win. We talked about yesterday about being intentional, and I said about getting a win. Today is all about that day now. What do you do for the day? Little things that are going to give you a victory. Because this is what's going to help you keep moving forward. And we're all, adults are just kids. We like rewards. We like knowing that we accomplished something and we're moving forward in something that we're doing. So choose it, focus, do small things. Look at a big project, a big vision, a big goal, whatever it is that you desire. Break it down into small increments. Break it down so small in the increments that you get it down to the day of what it is you want to focus on each day. So if let's say a goal for you is to read 50 books a day. Oh, wow, 50 books a day. 50 books in a year. What does that look like? How many books do you have to read a month? How many books do you have to read a week? How many books do you have to read a day? Like, how much time do you have to spend, right? How much time do you have to put invested in that? When you start looking at that, it's a lot easier. It's just like if you want to become a millionaire, but you only have $7 in your bank account. That's a huge disconnect for the brain to really try to fill in the blanks. But instead, if you say, you know what, I'm going to focus on every day. I'm going to put savings away at this much. I'm going to find someone to help me with investing. I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'm just going to keep doing the daily work. And as long as I keep focusing on that, eventually this should be the outcome. And it will when you continue to do the work. So focus on the small wins, focus on the small things, break things down into bite-sized pieces, okay? I know you want the whole pie, but you can't just eat it on one bite. You got to take it down a little at a time. It's like someone I interviewed talked about, you can't eat an elephant on one bite. And if you're getting upset about the whole elephant thing, it's just it's a figure of speech. You get the metaphor out of this. You can't take one bite and eat a whole elephant. You got to break it down into bite-sized pieces. And this is how you want to do it with your life and everything you do. So let me know what you think about this. As always, I'll see you tomorrow.